All right, we're back. We're back in business. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's staying safe. Mic check is good. Excellent. We're going to discuss some upcoming fights. Not just for this weekend, but also for the final month. Yes, that's very kind of you, MMA champ, MXB. That's very kind of you. Thank you for the kind words. Um, I don't think we do Thanksgiving. I don't think there's Thanksgiving in Australia, but I know it's a thing in the US. So, hey, sending my best, wishes to people there, and good, good energy to them. You know, where it's held. So yeah, it's a good thing. But yeah, as the title says, I've listed some fights that are up and coming. I put Spence Garcia first, just because that's probably the bigger fight out of all of them, without a doubt. So yeah, I'll have my co-host on soon, I think. And we've got a few coming up. Obviously, Spence Garcia is December 5th. We've got Rosado and Jacobs. They're going to settle their beef this week. We've also got Daniel Dubois and Joyce. And I'm sure there's another one I'm missing, but we got Tyrone here. We'll send him right in. Hop right in. Hop right in.
Yellow.
What's up? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm good, man. I'm good. All right, he just muted himself. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's an exciting week. I think the fight I'm most excited for this week is the Dubois fight. Oh,
Yeah.
you're back.
I'm just trying to make myself some food here. But yeah, man, that fight's probably the best one on the radar right now.
100%. 100%. I saw Los D's video today. That was his second prediction, and he's still going with Joyce, which I knew he would because he's riding hard for Joyce on this one. But yeah, I'm really split down the middle. Oh, excuse me. Here he goes, my damn yawning again. I just think that
The speed for me.
yeah, I think if Joyce throws a punch, it might land in maybe 3 to 4 days. So,
Not by express mail.
yeah, I mean, the thing with me, right, is we can talk about Joe and how he's got more experience, and his resume is very good for someone that's got like 10 fights or 11 fights, I think it is. Let me check, actually. I'm sounding like a casual now.
I think it's about 12 fights or something.
He's 35 years old? Oh my God, I didn't realize he was, I thought he was like 33 or something.
35.
35? He's got 11 fights, yeah. Okay, so, you've got Ian Lewison's a good name for your debut. Lenroy Thomas, Kaladze, Hanks, Stavern, Ustinov, Jennings. Those are good names for someone that's got that many fights.
Yeah.
That's a very good resume. I'm impressed by that. That impresses me. I also think that Daniel, his resume is not as good. He's got a few more fights there. But I think when you got guys like Kevin Johnson that are very negative, you can at least get rounds in and more experience. I think Gorman is a good one because I thought he'd give Daniel problems and he didn't really give him any problems. So with that being said, I think that experience and resume, being hurt by body shots, taking a few more punches, I think Joyce has that. But I feel like he's going to be there to be hit every time. And Daniel's step back game is really good. Laws, he dropped out. He'll jump back in. I feel like his step back game. I don't know what that is. Okay, his step back game is good, so he's able to get out of the way of danger. Let me just see this chat real quick. Too slow, bad defense. Yeah, it is. It is a great fight. I mean, they are really good prospects. You know, they are the best prospects in my opinion for the heavyweight division. Maybe if you add Hergovich in there, um, I would definitely say that as well. So, you know, I think that Daniel's just got to land once because they're going about how like Joe Joyce taking it, but I mean Joe Joyce has been dropped before in the amateurs, and he does have a good chin. He can really take a punch, but he took far too many punches in his last fight against someone that really wasn't, you know, up there. And people make the excuse of, oh well, he was inactive and this and that. Not really. You know, he took more than he needed to there. And you got to understand this as well, right? Joyce is really in shape for most of his fights because he has that gas tank and he's able to push that pace. But he doesn't live the life like Daniel, in my opinion. Daniel's always in shape. He's never really in camp to get in shape. In fact, if I go to his box rec, I might be able to see some of the weights. I might share screen it. I might. Oh no, I'm not logged in. That's the problem with box rec. You freaking, you know, you freaking when you're logged in, it logs you out almost. You know. Let me just see Daniel Dubois' weights. Hold on a minute. So that's okay. Cool. So he's really hung around the 230 area. Um, Debut, he was inside that 239, 238, 236, 239, 240, 238, 239, 240, 240, 244 in his last fight. And I guess that's because of the lack of sparring and all of that. He's enrolled in VADA, which is good. But he's not really, you know, and that's because he was a bit younger as well. He's put a bit of muscle on, but he lives the life. Um, that's just no, he's not back in yet. He is always in shape. You know, he's rarely out of shape. You know, he's coming in here. If I look at Joe Joyce though, early on he maintained his weight, but he jumped a lot. In between, he was in very good shape for Brian Jennings, but his last fight he weighed a lot. You know, Jeffrey Darun says I'm riding with Dubois. Yeah, I think I'm gonna ride with Dubois. You know, I said Joyce in another prediction, but I just think Joyce is there. He's there to be hit, whereas Daniel, I think, is more um defensive because if you look at his fights, it's hard to hit Daniel clean. You know, we could talk about Richard Lardy and how he was able to land a shot and this and that. But even within that exchange, you know, you look at how Daniel keeps his hands up, and I'll bring it up on YouTube right now. Okay. You know, they see it as a big deal and everything. You good?
Yeah. I cut out while I was trying to make me something to eat, and then now I just
okay.
upstairs.
All good.
Okay.
Just a sec. Did you catch what I said about the weights?
I heard Joe Joyce lost about 40 pounds.
Yeah, but I was saying that it's something interesting though. I'll always remember this from Chris Eubank. About living the life. I feel like Dubois does a better job at that because he's
Yeah.
maintained his weight. I know early on in his career he was like 232, he was much lighter, but I mean he was 18 years old when he went pro, so
Yeah.
his body is a little different there, and he hasn't really soared over 240 at all. He's hung around that high of 230s, low 240s. Whereas with Joyce, he kept it for a bit in 250, but then we jumped to 260, then we jumped to 265, then we had a drop, and then we had a really big jump. Everyone's bodies are different, but
Yeah.
I feel like Daniel's discipline and his mindset is a bit stronger than Joe. And I'm not saying Joe's mentally weak or not a hard worker. I'm just saying Daniel is really like engaged with it, and he's been doing it a bit longer as well, despite him being younger. But in pro experience, um, Joe has more experience in that department. Let me
Yeah.
just read the comment. Felt he got hit far too much for my liking, and it seemed a tad bit slow. That's the thing. Like we can talk about his chin, he won't take those punches from Dubois. He's far too powerful to take a punch from. It's like it's
Yeah.
kind of like with Wilder. You can't take the punch. If you get hit in the right spot, you're done. So he will walk onto one. I envision Daniel going to the body early. I
Mm.
envision Joe really jabbing to the body early as well and trying to catch Daniel on the end of his punches like he did with Joe Hanks. But Joe will be there to be hit. And it's really not, Joe being slow, it's his movement. He has this upper body movement that allows him to get in and out of range. He has this awkward style. I see Daniel with his coach working the pads, and the coach is talking about Joe's movement. Like when he goes here or when he steps here, we can get him here. So not even to hit him in the chin or on the face, like more so the chest, you know, slow him down from trying to be a juggernaut and come forward. I feel like Joe early on has to lean and hold a bit more. Um,
Yeah.
and he has to keep it, in my opinion, long. If it's on the inside, I think Daniel's going to tear him up. Um, it's a really competitive fight, though. I just think Daniel, physically, he will be able to use his attributes more. And I do feel like he is the better boxer. I feel like the way he pumps the jab. And I don't think the head movement is as bad as we make it out to be because, he's starting to move it a bit more. And you can go ahead, Tyrone, and make your prediction and breakdown. I'll bring a video up.
Yeah. People keep going on about how Joyce has so much more like boxing experience
Mm,
than Dubois.
yeah.
Joyce has a master's degree in art. Boxing is a plan B for him, if not plan C. This is all Dubois knows. Boxing is his life. And he started boxing from a young age, not in his early 20s, mid 20s like Joe Joyce. So all that time in the gym adds up. So who really has the most experience?
Yeah, I'm just talking about the level of opposition. But here's another
Oh,
thing
yeah,
people.
yeah, I agree with you there. But I'm just saying for like the general, like because I hear not from you, but from a
Yeah.
lot of people, oh, Joe Joyce is he has so much amateur experience. Okay, he has amateur experience, but what about boxing experience?
Yeah, like the years of training, the years of
Yeah,
sparring, the
yeah.
years of the road work, the push-ups. I watched a like 3-minute video last night. Oh, what an honor. What an honor. What an honor.
Salute Drew Titan.
Salute to you. Salute to you. Um, Thank you very much for stopping by, and shout out to everyone, and Jeffrey as well, an MMA champ, and
One of
more
the
to
only
come.
other people holding it down for Wilder too. I see. I'm not gonna name names of people who turned, but
Yeah,
as it stands, Drew Titan holding it down.
yeah, 100%. Daniel did a video with BBC Radio yesterday,
Mm.
and I don't know if you saw it. You should check it out. It's good. Um, he was talking about how his father, you know, got him into boxing early, doing push-ups,
I haven't
having
seen his dad once.
yeah, but he was talking about his dad, and I haven't seen his dad at all, but
And that's a testament to what that's a boxing dad.
yeah,
Not John Fury. That's that's
yeah,
that's a, that's an attention whore.
yeah. I what do you call it? Yeah, I mean John Fury is just a fucking prima donna at the end of the day.
Yeah,
I mean
he is.
he's a fool, but Daniel's dad is a good guy. That's a good man there, and you know, Daniel lives. I've been to Daniel's gym, the Peacock Gym. I've actually seen his coach.
Mhm.
Um, I forgot his actual name, which is really bad, but I've been to his gym a couple of times, and Daniel lives in, I think, an apartment. I think he got a new one, but he gets up in the morning, he has his eggs, he goes to the gym, he works out, and then he'll do another session or he'll go for a run, and then he'll help out other people in sparring. The
Yep.
man, or I should say the boy, really, because, well, he's a man now, but he's younger. He's very young in the game. He's an extremely hard, disciplined person. Now, you really made a good point about Joe Joyce's like backup about his.
Yeah.
I had no idea he had a master's
He
degree.
has a
Like I
master's
wouldn't, I
in
wouldn't have
art
thought.
or something, a master's in art history or art
Yeah.
art something. Because that for me, if you're already on the professional career path, or you might be a police officer, or the army, or whatever you do, that's full time. 9 to 5 job. That is your go-to. Boxing is really your secondary.
Mm.
So for Dubois, it's different. This is all he knows. This is all he's done. He might know other stuff too, but this is what he's done. You don't see him, working a 9 to 5 or any of that, or going to college or any of that. That's not his job. His job is to box, and that's all he's been trained to do. That's what he knows. This is his career choice, just like any other profession. So it's going to be hard for somebody who sees boxing really as a plan B to beat somebody who's trained, since he was a young kid.
Yep. To get past this obstacle and go on to fight for a world title, it's gonna be hard. Not hard. Well, it will be hard, but more difficult for Joe. Daniel lives and breathes this sport,
Yeah,
and it is him, and he treats it very well. As Chris Eubank Jr. says, he says, "Boxing is my girlfriend, and if I don't treat her well, you gotta treat me bad back." So blowing up to 270 and now cutting all this weight, I don't agree with it. People going on about how he'll look good. Yeah, he'll look good, but he won't be able to take a punch better because he has essentially drained himself down a bit, you know?
yeah,
Seeing him get hit by lesser punches like Brian Jennings to the body.
yeah.
Daniel, I'm telling you now, he won't even target the head that early. He will go to the body. And Daniel, in my opinion, he can go the full 12. I've seen him go 12 when he's throwing a ridiculous amount of punches. I've seen him in the gym. I've seen the videos. I've seen him in training camps on the videos. He has a gas tank on him. Everyone looks at big muscular guys and they assume that they have no cardio. Well, this guy has cardio. I've seen him do sprints. He works hard in that gym, and it's not for nothing. You don't train for nothing when you go that hard with your coach and all your other partners. I was gonna bring this up right here. Um, the fight with Lati that everyone is banging on about,
Yeah, they
right?
swear.
Now you have to understand this as well. Lati's actually quicker than Joe.
Yeah,
Okay. Um, Now if we move on, I think this was the round where they got into that little tussle. Okay. And now if you actually look at Lati, he looks in better shape here than his previous fights. He's actually is slimmer.
mhm.
Man, Daniel's just huge. Like, you see how Daniel keeps his hands up here
Mhm.
as well? Just that. That kind of stuff. Oh, it was a low blow? I don't think that was it. Let me skip forward a bit more. Um, I think it's this round. Is it this
I like
round?
that they just got into it to a mix up.
It was entertaining.
I said,
But let me show you,
ooh.
it wasn't as bad as I saw it. Why is it going so slow?
When I saw it first thing I said it was, ooh. I heard him there a little bit.
All right, here we go. Let me just slow it down, okay? I'm gonna try my best. Right?
Yeah.
Now he got the hook in, but Daniel, he keeps the hand up.
Yeah.
Okay. He took one there, but he took it well. Okay. And then tries to keep it up again. Okay. Because Lardy is not very technically good, so he's hitting with his wrist.
Yeah.
But you can see Daniel, right? He took it there. It's good that this happened to Daniel. You have to learn from these things.
I said,
You know?
ooh. I
Yep.
like
Look at him. See? He didn't let Lardy get the shot. He no free shots there. He held on. He's smart in that respect. All right. And Lardy's corner's going crazy. So it's not as bad. You know, he didn't take clean shots there. And here's another instance where Daniel ends the fight. Let me just bring it. I think this is it. Daniel is very sneaky in that mid-range and in close because he really can pick his shots well. You know, Joyce can pick his shots, but he's a volume guy. You know, he's not you know what? The quality of this video has absolutely destroyed the speed of it. I think Joyce is playing with it. Watch here. Step back. Get your distance again. Boom. There. If you drop your hands and you're upright, I'm telling you, it's over with him. Because the thing with Joe, what's up, Parkle? The thing with Joe is that he never really can shell up. I don't think he particularly protects himself as well as Daniel. He doesn't duck like Daniel. He doesn't weave under like Daniel. He doesn't parry like Daniel. Actually, he can parry, but keeping his hands up. I feel like he's just far too easy. You cannot take punches from Daniel. And I feel like Joyce, just every fight we see it. His last fight, did you not see his last fight?
Uh-huh.
He took way too many punches from that Wallace dude.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think. Well, that last guy was barely a cruiserweight.
No, I'm talking about with Joe Joyce, his last opponent.
Oh, Michael Wallace. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wallace is another recycled. Got to get that word out there. It's happening this Saturday.
Yeah.
Finally, it's been postponed 4 or 5 times now. You know.
Joyce, I think Joyce is better when he's throwing in combinations.
Right.
I don't think he's as good with the single punches because he leaves himself very open with them. Whereas when he throws combinations, he really overwhelms guys. It's hard because like I think it will be competitive. Like I'm not writing Joe off; he can win, but I feel like he can't fix anything else. He's 35. He's older than what? I mean, he's just a year younger than Wilder almost, or he's the same age. Sorry.
Yeah.
And he just goes forward and he takes too much. And you know, I do feel like people are picking Joyce just because they don't like Daniel, which I don't know where that's come from. But
Well, I think a lot of people think Daniel Dubois is overhyped.
nah, I disagree.
Really?
No, I don't think he's overhyped, but I agree.
I don't think he is either. But I feel a lot of people do think he is what I'm
I
saying.
agree with that. Like I've seen that people think he's
Yeah.
overhyped, but even if he was to lose, I would still praise him because these two are probably the best heavyweight novice fighters out there. Maybe minus Herkovich, and I wouldn't say Hunter because he fought Povetkin.
Yeah, he's
you know,
he already fought What's it called?
He fought Kaladze. He fought
Usyk. Yeah,
Kuzman.
he's really a contender.
Yeah, Hunter's a contender, but these are the two best up and comers. Um, Daniel looks a lot more relaxed as well. He just
Okay.
looks very relaxed. Joe looks relaxed as well. But fuck, I can't stand that Sam Jones.
Well, where does he go if his man loses? I mean, who else does he have in his stable? I
Well,
mean,
what
he's
did
working
Sam
for the
say?
Sun last year.
Did you watch the round table?
Huh?
They did like the round, not the round table. They were like in some freaking abandoned warehouse talking. Frank, Daniel, Joe Joyce, and Sam Jones.
No, I didn't see it.
Well, like Sam Jones is like, Joe's got more to lose. If Daniel loses, he's young, he can rebuild. And I'm like, fucking damn right. What are you gonna do if Joe loses?
Yeah,
You
well,
gotta look after your fighter, man.
yeah, he doesn't really have a leg to stand on, Sam Jones. Um, he's ass out if this guy loses this Saturday, and
Joe Joyce is not a crap fighter though. I don't think he's bad or anything. I think he's actually quite good, and I like his mentality. But I
his
feel like
speed.
I feel like Daniel's just gonna counter him. I
Yeah.
really do, and I think people started going about Daniel's speed. I don't think Daniel is slow. I mean, you go watch the Gorman fight. I mean, he's throwing the double jab too, like at a ridiculous pace with
Mhm.
really good speed. Um, it's gonna take a lot to take Daniel into deep waters. I don't think he's a mentally weak person. I don't think he's gonna
Yeah.
fold. You know, Joyce is just gonna have to simply overwhelm him, and he's gonna. I reckon Joyce is gonna have to get him with a left hook because his right hand will be too slow. His left hook, he can throw it. He's better at throwing that shot from what I've seen. But yeah, I can't wait for that fight. I really can't wait.
Yeah,
And
I'm hoping to.
the undercard, I don't know what the undercard is like, but
I doubt
yeah, I
it'll
mean,
be special.
yeah, Joyce does look good. You know, he'll come to win. They're both gonna put it on the line. There'll be a few O and R moments, I reckon.
Yeah.
But bloody hell, the pace is going to be frenetic. The only the only way the pace won't be frenetic is Joyce not taking initiative because of the power Daniel has.
Mm.
Joyce has power, but he's got to hit you with one and then get you with another. He can knock you out with one punch. I've seen it,
Mhm.
but most of it is accumulation. Like he'll drop you and then get you with 5, 6 more punches. Whereas with Daniel, it's one you're out pretty much most of the time anyway. Um, I think Daniel is just gonna slip to his left and then straight right counter right on the chin. Boom. Good night. Yep. I think that's my prediction. I reckon 7th or 8th round. Could be early though. Could be early. It's a very unpredictable fight, but I just predicted. Well, I just guessed. That's my guess for the fight.
Yeah, I think Dubois can stop him.
Yep.
My prediction there.
Yeah, he was getting touched up in the Usyk fight, but he never see Usyk's just got no power.
Yep.
So Joyce was able to throw because Joyce is just a dog, man. He'll go to the end. Um, so that's different. If Daniel hits him like that, it'll knock him out. You know, he will. And I think the jabs will help. He's got a jab in the fight. So does Joe. Um, but yeah. Friday, I think Loz said he'll be on, so we'll chop it up there. I know what we've just discussed will be heavily rebutted, but
Mhm.
I'm just mentioning facts of what I've seen.
Yeah.
Really, it's not even me going off a personal like for anyone. I just think that from what the facts show. I think it's Daniel's fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll move on to so Jacobs Rosado. That's happening.
Bomb bash. Another horrible fight. Stormy, me and Stormy talked about Danny Jacobs when he fought Julio Chavez, and really before that in the Canelo fight. I think he's a guy who is just glad to have it close, be competitive in a really elite fight. It's fine with not winning. Is just kind of, glad to be there. He's glad to have gotten an invite and be a part of the show. I think that's his deal, and he's about the money now. So,
well, it's funny because I like Danny. I like his story. I salute him for continuing in life, but yeah, I can't believe this fight is happening because I've known for years that these two have shit talked each other, and I thought, yeah, but they're not gonna make it because it does nothing. It's a nothing fight. And
the moment they invited what Gabe Rosado over to watch the Chavez fight, I knew they were trying to set it up. Even before then, they were really trying to set it up because they don't have anything going on over there.
Yep. I don't know. It's
shit. I mean,
it's shit. But what's good is the beef they have. I find it funny. I find it really it's just a stupid beef they have. But
it's the dumbest thing.
It's a dumb.
You're arrogant. You're talking about M's. No, you are. I can't wait to shut you up. He's barely a 500 fighter.
Yeah, I mean,
Rosado, he has double-digit losses.
25-12.
He shouldn't even be in the conversation.
Nah, see, Charlo, Jamal, that is someone that should be in the conversation.
Well, they won't put it because he's not in the zone.
Yeah, and it's a different weight because 168 is what Jacobs wants to be at. Yeah, to continue.
He's fooling himself. I don't know why he thinks that.
I honestly rate him. I rate Jacobs.
He can fight. He's really good. He's an elite fighter, actually. But his problem is himself. He's not in boxing anymore.
He said in an interview today. No, it was on the 23rd of November on Matchroom's channel because they're doing the camps, which I enjoyed watching. I just watched one today. It was actually quite good. He said at middleweight I wasn't myself for the Canelo fight, which is understandable. I've seen it within the UFC. I mean, look at Tyron Woodley now. I mean, he's old, but actually he's not a good example. But it happens. It happens in the sport. You get, you're at this weight, and then you're draining yourself a bit to get down to it. So I think Jacobs made the right move. I think he's happier. But I also think he's happier because this fight's easy. There's nothing really Rosado can do. He's a warrior. He's tough as nails, but he just doesn't have it. And this guy is not elite. Never was elite. He's got big fights because of his mouth and his name. I don't hate Rosado. I actually think he's a bit cringe sometimes, but he's a bit entertaining.
A shelf stacker.
Yeah.
He a lot for himself.
Can you guess how I discovered Gabe Rosado?
Did you run into him somewhere? Or did you watch him off of Creed or something?
I watched him off of Creed. Yeah. I'm like, fuck, this guy looks familiar, man. Where did I see him?
And I'm like, he beat Fernando Guerrero over here.
Oh, man.
Fernando Guerrero beat him.
Yeah.
But, Gabe Rosado is a bum. I'm sorry.
He's a journeyman now.
Yep. He's a glorified.
12 losses. 12 losses, man.
With money. He's a journeyman with money.
He's got a lot of fucking money, man. A lot of it. For those losses, damn, he's got a lot of money.
He's got
You know, Danny, in my opinion, will outbox him early, and then stoppage on a cut or just accumulation.
accumulation. So
I
not
have a feeling though. You know what annoys me about Danny? He tries to throw all these different combinations, and he's not the hardest puncher in the world, really.
he can hit, but
Yeah, I mean, he got rid of Peter Quillen nicely. That was a real good opening. But
stoppage.
yeah, but he needs to sit down a bit more because he can hit. He has the power, but I don't know why he chooses not to. He tries to throw a million punches.
Now he's gonna look at the camera and said, "Look at the statement I just made. This is a message for all the super middleweights," and he names only the DAZN ones. Canelo, I want a rematch at 168. Callum Smith, and that's how the post fight is going to go down.
Well, I think he can beat some guys at that weight.
Yeah, he'll beat Caleb Plant. He'll beat Canelo. He'll be.
Well, you think he'll beat Canelo?
Oh no, I meant Callum Smith. Sorry,
Callum Smith. Yeah.
Oops. He'll beat Caleb Plant.
I don't think he would beat Jamal Charlo if Jamal went up there, let alone at 160.
No, yeah, he wouldn't.
But you know what was interesting? Remember they had that like little thing backstage, and he's like, just the
probably his best chance. Then
I'm
but
touching him.
Was even better.
Jamal
or is more seasoned. I won't say better because his fights before that, he didn't really. Jamal's never really been troubled in a fight other than confused a little about Austin Trout because Austin Trout was like a pillow-fisted puncher and then like he was like an eel in there, just kind of moving around and slithering. He was just kind of confused. But other than that, I don't think he's had any tough fights.
His toughest was probably that and maybe Korobov and Derevinchenko.
Korobov, yeah, I forgot Korobov. Korobov was probably his toughest fight. I forgot about that one. That was probably the one he had difficulty.
Yeah. I don't like how Danny tries to like put that thing up like, oh, Jamal's afraid. Like Jamal's not afraid of you. You're just in like a situation where you can freely say that. But when you start calling out guys that are only under DAZN, that's questionable. I want him to win this weekend, and I do want him to put a good performance on. And I think, look, man, he's good. He's really good. I'd like to see him fight Callum Smith or Caleb Plant with PBC, but I think he beats Caleb Plant because the way he fights, his style and everything. I think Caleb would have problems with that because Caleb. Look, I don't know who Caleb has fought really. Caleb's good.
I thought the Uzkataki win was very impressive.
It was.
But other than that,
nah.
Nothing really to write home about.
Yeah, it's not something that's
no.
The thing with Danny is Danny needs to. I don't know. He can't get hit because I don't know. He's got no chin. I reckon.
I think he can take a good shot. I think he's really only been knocked out that one time. Really, the knockout Triple G. He was
off balance a bit.
Tangled up.
Yeah, tangled up. Yeah, I guess. I just feel like he loses respect when he gets hit hard. Not with Golovkin. I'm to the Canelo fight. That was a bit of a mess. That fight. That was a bit disappointing.
Yeah, I think he was glad to be there.
Yeah,
he was glad to be a part of the show.
I don't know, but you know what, man? Like I hope he wins. I wish him the best and everything. I'm gonna continue to follow him in his career, but he needs to have that mentality at this new way. It's a new start. You've got a win already. So just make the most of it, man. Put good performances on. Go for those belts now and just don't have that mentality of I'm glad to be here. Yeah, but win, man. Have that. Go for legacy, man. Go for it. Really go for it. So yeah. What else were we to talk about? Spence and Garcia. That's coming up. There's no other fights this weekend. Hold on, Tyson Jones. Yeah.
Unless you want to talk about that.
No, I'm good. I mean, it's just fucking stupid, really. It's just two drug cheats that are just coming out of retirement again. Well, for Roy anyway. So yeah, I don't care about that shit. You know, Mike Tyson's fucking living life now like he's fucking 17 years old. You know, like he's just
Yeah.
he's just. I'm sorry, but I liked him. I liked Mike when he was about 21, 22, 23, when he was young. You know, when he was Kid Dynamite. When he was called Kid Dynamite. I liked him better, you know, then. You know, Prison Time and Buster Douglas and then Holyfield era and all that. Nah, forget it. Because you know, that was just a nothing
A nothing burger.
individual. Yeah, we got no trolls today. That's good to see. We had a few pop in
Okay.
so far.
To punch their card in.
I mean, I get accused of blocking people, which is bad, but then I got trolls on my channel almost every stream and I let them comment. So, yeah. I mean, I don't really care about the trolls. It's not an issue. Yo, Stormy B man. If you want to jump on, you can. I can send you a link, but if you just want to if you want to hang around and listen, that is fine by all means. But I want to talk about Spence versus Garcia because there's a lot of variables.
Bro.
I'm not gonna block you. Is that what you're laughing at?
Yeah, that's what I'm laughing at.
I'm not gonna block you. Wait. Actually, let me just click the block button.
real
Nah, I'm kidding. Yeah.
Garcia.
I can't wait for this fight. I don't know what it is. I just can't freaking wait. Are you excited for this fight or what?
To be honest, not really. I'm not jumping out of my seat. I won't lie to you.
Fucking hell. You're hard to impress.
I don't know why. I think I've just expected him to fight these good quality opponents. So he went through Sean Porter. He's already, I've already expected him to keep doing the great work. So, I mean, I just want to see the Crawford Spence fight. Even though this fight is best fight the best, it is.
I think everyone.
I don't know why I'm not too excited for it. I was talking to Brooklyn about this. It's not a personal grudge against anybody. It just I don't know why.
It's on your email, Stormy. You know what? Danny, in my opinion, he sees something. And it's not like what Mikey Garcia said. Because he just did fuck all in that fight.
Who?
But Mikey Garcia did nothing.
Oh yeah. He knew when he got in there and he felt him pause. He
got his ass whooped. Good style. Pillar to post. He got it whooped.
Literally pillar to post. Like he would hit him and the punch would throw him to the other side of the ring and he'd just go to work there.
But yeah, Danny hopped in that ring real quick after the Porter fight. Real quick.
Might see something.
Danny's really good. His fights have been pretty competitive. With the Thurman fight, I didn't think was that close. I thought the Porter fight was closer.
I thought he beat Porter. That was just my opinion.
Who, Danny against Porter?
Yeah, I thought he beat Porter.
There's an argument there. There really is.
Because Porter was doing the activity shit and the football shit again.
The football shit.
I mean, really.
Look, you know, Danny has said that he made those fights too close, which means that it seems that his mentality has changed. You know, he's looking to put it on a bit more, and
But Errol Spence is a big guy.
I think when he gets in there, he'll realize we'll let the wise man come in. Welcome to the channel again, Stormy B Man.
Oh man, you got somebody wise on here tonight. Hey, wait a What's up, fellas? How you guys doing, man? I'm in a real goofy mood this evening, man.
Oh, why?
I guess because I don't have to work Thursday and Friday, and I got a nice 4-day weekend ahead of me.
Yay, that's good, man. That's good.
No, but yeah, thanks for having me on, Watcher, man. And what's up with you, Tyrone? How you doing?
Not much, man. Having a 4-day weekend like yourself. It just started today, so I'm ready to go.
Don't you feel good when those roll around?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Listen, I first I wanted to say this. And again, thank you for sending me a link. I was going to take the week off, you know, because it's Thanksgiving week and whatever, and not do any of my shows. So it's looking like the only show that I'm not doing this week will be the Three Wise Men and possibly the Friday night chop session, because I will be checking out the fights on Friday night.
Oh yeah.
But the thing about it is, I kind of like what I'm doing. So like last night's stream of my Tuesday tussle was kind of impromptu because I didn't plan to do it. But I got a great conversation out of it, and I had about 100 views or whatever, which was okay. My thing is when I do my shows and stuff, I try to do it for you all, for the community, for the people who support the channel and people who want to hear good boxing talk and stuff like that. So, but as I've also said, I will go around and make the rounds and support everybody else as well. So, that's why I'm here. That's why I was in your chat. I'm actually, I got some irons in the fire right now too. I'm producing my next Kung Fu film focus, which will be Jet Li's film Hero. And I'm getting the music together for it and everything. So Stormy is working, man. It's like, even when I'm off, I'm working. So, I'm just excited. That's all.
Oh, I mean, you would, it sounds great. I've seen a couple of some bits of the Kung Fu ones you've made. And obviously I was in your chat yesterday. We were talking about the Hasim Rahman knockout to Lennox Lewis. But yeah, of course, I salute you for that. I try to make my rounds too with other channels, Black Star Sports TV and several others. So that's what it's about, man,
And Watcher, since you mentioned Black Star, when you listened last night, could you understand that point I was trying to make, man? With the fact that, all these guys, and I say these guys because you got a community of guys that they hate the fact that something went down in that second fight between Wilder and Fury that is questionable and whatnot. But the question that I raised, and I said no one's actually talking about, is, yeah, if there's a rubber match, how does Wilder win it? You know what I mean? Because the first fight ended up a draw. He put the guy down twice. And yes, it could have possibly been a count out if they did, but it wasn't. So we're past that. And the guy got up and won the rest of that round. And I felt going into the rematch, the way he fought the rematch from the opening bell, he fought like he fought when he got up from the knockdown at the end of the first fight. So that being said, whether something fishy went on or not, Wilder still hasn't bested him. So what makes everybody think he's going to best him in the third fight without doing it the proper way? And we haven't seen that from him yet. When have we seen him be able to put rounds in the bank and win the fight? That's what I was trying to get at last night. But it seemed like Black Star, he was a little perturbed. It was like, hey, man, the guy just got to get in there. But, well, you know what? Yeah, you can get in there and just hit somebody. But what if they don't go anywhere? He took your best. It's like, but he could still outbox you, though. So you have to be able to do some other things. I mean, do you not agree with that? It's not about me questioning if he can win. It's like, will he do the things he needs to do to win? Which is two different things.
I'll be honest. Like, I actually had to go to work, so I didn't catch what
You didn't catch that part?
Yeah, but Tyron let me.
I saw it. Yeah, I was in the chat putting Fury down. So I hate Fury. But
and that's fine because again, remember, I'm looking at it from like a coach's point of view, and also from I'm not a fan of the individuals of the sport because the individuals come and go. The sport remains. When these guys' careers are done, there'll be some guys to replace them. So what are you going to do? Still be talking about them when someone else is present? That's why I don't give a damn about Mike Tyson and Roy Jones as they're coming up this weekend. To hell with those guys. They've had their careers, and if they didn't pan out the way that they wanted, so what? There's a new day and there's a new stage with new performers. So that's why I don't give any energy to that stuff. But while we're here with who's present, that's why I stated that question and put it out there. And to this moment, I still haven't heard anything from anyone that says, wow, you know what? Let's think about that. Let's pull back. Let's, put it together.
Yeah, I think no, I see what you're looking at it. People get it confused. And I was telling Watcher this. I said people like you are looking at it technically, right? It's not that you don't believe that fishy stuff went down. We saw that fishy stuff went down, and he obviously wasn't his best that night at all. Like, he looked like he was on one leg. He could barely move. But I was telling Watcher this too. I said the best way, the best representation of a fight between those two, 10 out of 10, 100 out of 100 times, is the first fight. Really.
Right.
Really, the first fight, when people look at the first fight, then I can sit down and say, okay, yeah, Wilder needs to jab more. He needs to add, he needs to change himself technically from that first fight. But I think a lot of people look at the second fight and say, oh, he needs to do all these sorts of things almost as if it was a blowout. 50% of decafs don't even know there was a first fight.
Mm-hmm.
And you would think that when they see that, they're like, oh, there's no way this guy could win. But if people look at the first fight, then I think the technical stuff really does come into play. I do think that their things need to be tightened up, but age, if he gets in there like he did against Brazil, I think he beats Fury. He should be able to knock him out.
Right. But even in doing that, you're talking about rolling the dice. What happens if when he hits the guy doesn't go anywhere? Remember, he got up from the 2 knockdowns in the first fight. And what if the 2 knockdowns didn't occur? Does that mean that Fury wins it running away? Because they had a draw, with the 2 knockdowns. That means they weren't giving Wilder any benefit of rounds of work. So again, we're still in that conundrum of is he doing enough round by round to secure rounds, putting rounds in the bank? And if you say no or negative, then that means that's on him. He has to do more. And that's all I'm trying to bring out into the conversation, because remember, against Ortiz, he was losing the rounds before he scored the knockout. But what if the knockout never freaking comes, bro? You still have to find a way to win the fight without a knockout. And for a person that's reliant on getting you, if he never gets you, that's a loss as far as I'm concerned. And it's also a loss as far as he's concerned, as far as his philosophy and his approach. So you take a fighter like Fury, whose boxing is, it's okay for his size and everything like that, right? And remember, he did outbox Vladimir, who's a better boxer than Wilder. So it's like, Wilder has to bring his game up to put rounds in the bank. He's going to have to beat Fury up. And beating him up is a far bit different than knocking him out. That means you're turning back his challenge round after round and making him pay, and he's on the losing end of the output each round. And I'm not saying he has to win every single round, but he has to put enough of them in the bank that if it goes the distance, he gets a decision. You know? And I'm sorry, Watch, I didn't mean to take your conversation left like that, but when I asked you, did you catch the gist of what I was trying to say last night? That was basically it in a nutshell. Because if people are watching what we're talking about, I'm raising some facts that are not just applicable to this particular fight, but it's toward boxing. Because again, take a guy like Julian Jackson, who I loved when he was, in his heyday, and he was knocking guys out too. But when he came in there against boxers who could really box, who could take his punch, he ran into some trouble. And that was Mike McCallum, and then later Gerald McClellan. McClellan was not necessarily that much of a better boxer than he, but he could take his punch, and he couldn't take Gerald's punch, and he was in trouble. You see what I'm saying? He didn't have boxing to fall back on, or even to carry him through while they were in the midst of things. And I think that what we're going to see at the end of the day, when it's all said and done for Wilder's career, he might be that guy. He might be Julian Jackson. And that means that he may have got the maximum or the optimum out of what he had to bring to boxing already. That's all.
I like it. No, that's good. I saw some criticism in the chat just as I was leaving. They're like, "Oh, Stormy's giving Fury too much credit," which we just you don't pay attention to that stuff because you are saying the truth. You need to put them in. There have been times where I've seen the fight and I'm like, "Damn, you got to shorten up your punches." Because, for example, the man is 6'7" and he has an 83-inch reach, right? And he's facing another giant. So one shot isn't going to do the job. You need to put more together.
Right.
When Wilder jabs, he makes it easier for himself. I've seen it in fights. He makes it much easier for himself. He has that ability to catch and counter with the jab. It's good when he goes to the body. He did a good job of that in the first fight, just by jabbing to the body. He would jab, and he'd be able to slip Fury's jab to avoid the counter. I also think he needs to, if the third fight happens, which I hope it does, don't let Fury just clinch with ease. Create
Make
that
him pay.
space.
Make him pay.
Yeah, create that space. Make him pay.
See, I've done like my Tuesday tussles when I talk boxing like that, and I talk about controlling the real estate. That's what he's going to have to do. And people like to talk about boxing off the back foot and things like that. I really don't like these modern terms that guys use because they're real superficial. But when I talk about controlling the real estate, that's something different. And I know you guys were about to talk about Danny Garcia and Earl Spence, and this is going to be something very applicable to that fight as well. The idea of controlling real estate is when you basically draw a line in the sand and you're in the ring. So that could be wherever you are in the ring. You draw this line. It's an imaginary point that when the opponent comes within range, you make them pay with something that will make them apprehensive about coming within that distance and proximity again. And when you control that, you can dictate the tempo of the fight and who gets the advantage as far as coming forward, going backwards, things like that. It's more than just fighting off the back foot You know what I'm saying? So again, you just mentioned, man, he's going to have to learn how to throw short punches. And if Tyrone was hearing me last night, that's what I was saying, that he doesn't do well at all. He doesn't throw mid-range punches and punches on the inside like a Riddick Bowe was capable of doing. And if even Lennox Lewis learned to do it as his career went on, but Bowe was the consummate big man, 6'5", 80-inch reach, and could fight on the inside like he was Evander Holyfield, which is why he bested Evander, because he was a bigger, younger, stronger man, and he could beat Evander at his own game with those dimensions. So with Wilder never having learned that aspect of his craft, he's always fighting at a disadvantage for someone like Fury. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not that Fury's so great. And for people out there saying I'm giving Fury too much credit, remember, some of the other guys that were smaller guys, Otto Wallin and what's his name? Tom Schwartz, those guys that didn't seem to have a problem with Fury, that was because they were little men who had to fight the big man the best way they could. And they went in and they tried to go in and things like that. Wilder doesn't try to go inside. He doesn't try to control mid-range. He tries to catch you at the end of his punch, and he telegraphs his punch, especially when he's not working the jab. Sometimes when he's working the jab, he still telegraphs, but he's more efficient with the punch when he throws the jab, because the jab always sets everything else up. That's boxing 101. But if you got a man who's totally reliant on his power all the time and is looking to launch it all the time, you can get ready for that, because you don't have anything else to worry about. So all of these things come together as I try to speak it. And yeah, there's some resistance of people out there that they don't want to hear what I'm saying. But that's why they also end up heartbroken all the time, because they're not looking at things realistically. Your girl told you she's done with you. It's over. It's quits. But you're like, well, maybe she'll change her mind tomorrow. Dude, she's kissing another dude right now. You understand? And it's like, when are you going to get it in your head that it's over? You're going to have to go back, rebuild, and get you somebody new. You know, this is how I talk to the guys in the gym. It's like you try to find a way to drive the point home so that somebody can make what you're trying to teach and share, make it, you know, where it's they can understand it and accept it and then, you know, take it in. But they were so resistant last night, it was ridiculous. You would have thought I was talking to Wilder's girlfriends or something.
I think, like, I think we all know, like, that skill-wise, he isn't there. It's his power and other intangibles. And the problem is, and I said this a long time ago, that none of these heavyweights, you know, blow me away as far as, you know, being a real force. I think the only exceptional thing out here is Wilder's, you know, power. So that plus the intangibles, I think, should take him over the edge. I feel that him learning, like, to a great, you know, learning skill, you know, more skills to a greater extent, that ship has kind of sailed. You know, he turns 36 next year, and he already has in his head the way he's going to fight. And we've all kind of braced ourselves in our head. If he were to lose a pity-pat decision, we've all kind of resigned ourselves to that. If that happens, you won't really hear any complaint from me.
Let me say something, because you all made really good points. I agree with what Stormy says. I mean, here's the thing with Wilder. What I think happened throughout his time boxing. For one, I actually think his mentality has changed a bit. He seems a lot more. I'm just talking about mindset at the moment. Then I'll get onto the technical bit. He seems a bit more angry. I think once 2017 hit, I don't know. He wasn't as. I don't feel like he loved boxing as much as he used to when it hit then. And I think that was because he couldn't get the fights he wanted. But in saying that, I think he fell in love with the power a bit.
Yes.
And when, as a heavy Wilder supporter, I just got to be objective with it. Like, you just fell in love with it. And it went from his Stavern fight and his, Dubois fight, just constantly throwing the jab out there and just throwing more and a whole lot of other stuff. But when it kind of went to just pawing with the jab and then right hand and then just pawing with the jab and then right hand, just the one shot. And the one shot, it can do it with other guys, but it's not going to work every time, I mean, you talk of Julian Jackson, you talk of Mike Tyson. What if the guy in front of you doesn't go? And like Stormy said, we can talk about long count, this and that. But look at Riddick Bowe, 6'5", but fighting on the inside, just digging in against Holyfield, using his size against him, using his essential style, some of his style against him. Wilder is 6'7", and even though he's not as bulky, he's still a very large guy. That's a very big individual. I'm sure if he were to learn that inside game, in that mid-range and throw it tight, he could do some real damage and he would be more efficient in his fights, because it seems to me it's the 1-2, it's the cross hook, and it's the right hand. Like, there's not much else.
Left hand to the body.
What do you mean, the hook or the jab?
The hook.
The hook to the body is good, but I want to see it more. You can't just throw it once or twice in the fight. You've got to just a little more, because he's got the physical to do it. You just got to do the technique from then on in. Control the real estate. You can't just let guys walk in and hold you and just hit you in the kidney, and jab, and then they just don't pay back when their hand is down. Counter jab, all that. So I completely agree with Stormy. He can't defend it. I mean, he needs to implement that. Whoever he's bringing into camp, they need to sit him down and say, look, you got to do this to win this, okay? Because even though, we don't think, obviously Tyson isn't a Riddick Bowe or anything like that.
Yeah.
But he's beatable, okay? Go in there and you go work for it, okay? Right hand, forget, it can't just be a shot, man. It can't be a one-hitter quitter. It's worked so many times, but there's got to be that realization of, shit, you know what? I need to get rounds in. I need to implement more, I need to throw more than maybe one or two. I've got the fitness to do it, so I don't need to worry about that, and make the guy pay when he comes in, because he's not coming in with a nice guard or anything. He's very open, let him step into it, or let him, be versatile with it. I don't coach Wilder, so I'm not gonna delve into his mind, but like I said, man, you need to work for this one if it happens. I'm telling you. And not just for this one, for other fights as well that come up, the one shot, just the Ortiz fight, the second one, I thought he looked for it too much. I just thought he looked for the right hand way too much, waiting too long. Because when you wait and you wait for it and it never comes, you get jumped on very quickly. But I will agree as well with Stormy that the 12th round of the first fight, when Fury landed the 2-3 at the end, I think he took something from that, and then he tried that in the second fight, and he ended up doing something along those lines. But yeah,
he did take. Well, I mean, he
not
did
all of it,
move
just
him a little bit, but the only reason it worked in the second fight, or because of all the aforementioned reasons.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to like talk with that, because that topic
had not happened.
Yeah, just if it not happened, because I'm trying to see like how it would work out when he's got more tools on him, just without the other stuff that happened with the water and all that shit and the gloves and everything. But yeah,
I mean, like he needs to.
I know what you mean.
My thing is, I do agree with you guys that technically he should have gotten better, but the age and the time, unless he's B-Hop, he doesn't have time, and you kind of got to work with what you have here. You have a good set of skills right now, as far as the power and the intangibles, but you really could only tweak. And I think these other guys, aren't guys that you need to, sit down and revamp yourself totally to beat. They've either been down on the canvas for a while or all sorts of things. So it's kind of like going into your test and winging it, sort of, honestly, because there's not much time to do the changes mentioned.
I'm not saying he needs to rewrite the book. I'm just saying, just good quality over quantity sort of thing, because like you said, the age is a factor there, and you brought up B-Hop. I mean, bloody hell, what an impressive individual.
51.
What an impressive individual that man was.
Alien. There will never be anybody like him, man. People like Tyson Fury. I mean, nobody will even remember who this guy is. When it's all said and done, this is what they'll say about this era. Who was that heavyweight who could really punch? Man, it was Deontay Wilder. Who about those other guys? His name was Tyson. No, Mike Tyson's first name is Mike. It's not Tyson. I don't know which Tyson you're talking about. Oh, yeah. I don't know.
Nah, they'll say,
they're gonna say. Nobody will remember Fury at the end of all this.
No, you know what they'll say, Tyrone? They'll say, who was that guy from England? They called him the Brixton Body Snatcher. Was it Lamar Scott? Oh no, shit.
Dean Scott.
White. Oh no, Dillian White. Sorry. Oh shit. Oh god. See, that's another one. Where where you look at technique a bit with Dillian, because the same shit he makes mistakes with.
Yep.
We see it now, like the uppercut defense. It was never improved upon. I can think of Joshua, Chisora 1, Rivas, Chisora 2, that was before the Rivas fight, and Povetkin, man, that's 5 fights, And then what? How many fights was there? 11, 12 fights later, so almost half. The error still isn't fixed. Dropping the jab down to your waist, and that kind of shit wasn't exploited on the night because Povetkin just looked too slow off the mark there.
Yeah.
I think Stormy went for a bit, but
okay.
I mean, that's another one there, that fight. But yeah, I mean, we kind of went off topic there, but that's okay.
No, I'm still here. I was just listening to you guys.
Yeah. He was
here.
Yeah, no. For a minute, I'm like, damn, I must have muted him or something. But yeah, Spence Garcia was what we were going to move on. I'll let you guys talk about that for a bit. I just got to fix something. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be back in a minute.
Yeah. So, Stormy, what do you think about the Spence Garcia fight?
I think it's going to be a tougher fight than a lot of people think it's going to be. Earl Spence is it all starts, goes, and ends with him, but on multi-facets, multi-levels. One, to get the elephant, out of the barn, it's like, how will he hold up from the accident,
Right.
And psychologically, physically, facially, because if he's going to get hit in the face or the mouth, is he going to swell? Is he going to cut? Is there going to be something, there? Because in sparring, they could tell guys, hey, don't go for the head, just jab to the body, to the shoulders, whatever, don't be trying to hit him in the face. They can tell him that. In sparring, you can control and dictate the type of sparring that you do. and also limit the type of trauma or whatever that occurs in sparring. That you can control, but in a live fight, the wheels are off, and that's where we'll have some questions regarding those things. This fight was going to be a difficult fight for Earl, regardless of had he had the car accident or not, because Danny Garcia, he can fight. He's a little slower foot. He's kind of like a plotter at the welterweight division, but he's got good pop on his punches, and he's very game, and he can take a punch. So the thing about being able to take a punch is when a guy can take a punch, people are inclined to want to hit him more. And if you want to hit him more, that means you're going to make yourself available because you're there trying to hit him. And what is Danny? A great counter puncher. And see, that's the thing. Earl has spent the last few fights of his fighting guys fights, fighting their fight. Now, will he get back to fighting his own fight, which is something that we're going to have to find out what that is now? Because like when he fought Sean, he fought Sean's fight. When he fought Mikey, he fought Mikey's fight. Even when you go back to when he fought Kell Brook, he kind of fought Kell Brook's fight. So if either that is really who Earl Spence Jr. is, that he's the kind of guy, he's a chameleon, he's going to try to fight the other guy's fights, or he's trying to be the smartest guy who ever existed in boxing. And it's like, I'm going to beat guys at their own game. And you're doomed to suffer a setback eventually by doing that. You don't usually want to dance to the other guy's song, so to speak. And also, Earl is southpaw. As vaunted as Danny's left hook is, remember, they're going to be saying, well, he's not going to hit Earl with that left hook because, Earl's a southpaw, and that's kind of a difficult punch to hit a southpaw with.
Mm-hmm.
But Danny got a good right hand, too. I was watching his fight with Zab Judah, who's more athletic than Earl, even though he was 35 when they fought. Danny was hitting Zab Judah with that right hand, which took him over into Danny's left hook because he was getting nailed with the shot. You see, these are the X's and O's of boxing. So Earl was going to have to do something else. And for the guys that think like, well, he can be multifaceted, fight inside, outside, mid-range, whatever, he's going to have to mix it up, and he's going to have to stay out of harm's way. But will his ego let that happen? Will he, we have to see those things. Those are intangibles. And you hear my partner, Kurt Sugar, talk about it all the time. The intangibles that play into a fight sometimes you don't know until the fight happens. You could give your thoughts on each individual, what their strengths are and this and that. But man, when that bell rings and guys get challenged or they challenge one another or whatever, sometimes something comes out of one guy that you never thought or didn't know yet or hadn't been revealed yet. And that's an X factor here. But I think the fight is a lot closer than what people may think for a variety of reasons. Does that make sense to you, Tyrone?
Yeah. Yeah, technically. Yeah, man. His good right hand might be able to land, and he might be able to capitalize also off the left hook by throwing that right hand to lead him into that left hook.
Yeah. That's what George Foreman did to Michael Moorer.
I watched that back the other day, actually. That was a funny knockout.
Did you notice, like, when it got to be like rounds 8 through 10, and it ended in 10, of course, but by that 8th round, 9th round, George started throwing these wide looping left hooks. to the top of Mora's head. And Mora, who has that peekaboo high guard, right? Yeah. He began to try to evade that hook by, first he was trying to step back out of the range of it, and George started throwing it wider, which would catch him on the cup of his glove around his hands near his head. So then Mora started dipping forward.
Yeah.
That's all George wanted him to do. Because what was going to start happening is when you dip forward like that, if George act like he going to throw that hook, you dip forward, he'll throw a jab and then shoot the straight right hand. But he set Mora up by, when he started throwing that jab, he took a lot off of the right hand when he was throwing it. Like he made it like he was tired in the rounds. Like, you know, a lot of the steam is off the punch now because, you know, when you're getting hit with it, it's not as jarring as it might have been in the early rounds. But see, that was George's experience, because when he did that, he wasn't hitting Mora with his good stuff. He was just touching him. And so Mora thinking, shoot, this old man, I can kind of stand in front of him now because his power ain't the same. Well, sure enough, he blinded him with that jab and he threw the right hand, but he didn't throw it with the power, and Mora didn't move. And so the next time he threw the jab, he laid into the right hand right behind it and crossed it across Mora's chin. He never saw the punch, and it was with power, and he went out. It's as simple as that. And Mora at the post-fight press conference tried to say, oh, he got lucky. Dude, he did not get lucky. That man was 40 years old and had been the heavyweight champion of the world 20 years ago. Okay? 20 years prior, and he used that experience and it cleaned his clock. But see, that's what an experienced fighter can do. Now, does Danny have that type of mindset? Remember, these guys are all the same age just about now. So it's the experience of a fighter who has lost. Remember this, Tyrone and Watcher. He has lost his title already. He has lost a couple of fights. And so now, after having tasted defeat a couple of times, he can come into this saying, I could get it all back with a victory tonight. You see? And that is an intangible that you can't measure, because that might make him fight through anything, might take anything that's shelled out. It might make him extremely motivated in the sense that you never seen him before. So, and if Earl brings the same, we're going to have a barn burner. You understand? So it's like, these are the kind of ways that you, again, when you look at fights and you put things on the table, this is no longer a Chris Algieri or a Kell Brook who, you know, is coming off of a, you know, eye surgery or whatever like that, or even Sean Porter, who's very limited, because Sean Porter, for all that he brings, and he's added new wrinkles in his career as of late with more movement, lateral movement, and being able to get in and out. But the one thing Sean don't have, he don't have punching power. He got tremendous conditioning. He has tremendous work ethic. He has aggression. He can take a shot, but he don't have that equalizer. I always said at welterweight, if Sean Porter had a knockout punch, he'd be the best welterweight in the world. Because there's nobody who is more conditioned than he, and he just can't get guys out of there with a shot or a couple of shots. So, you know, God gives you gifts, and it's like, that's the one that was left off his table. You know what I mean? And there are others who have gifts that, you know, like people think that Danny, he has a tremendous left hook, and they think that his mobility and fluidity and stuff, maybe that's what God left off of his table. But I'll tell you something, Danny can hit with both hands, and that's where somebody can be caught sleeping, because you're worried about the left hook and he'll hit you with the damn right hand. What did he knock what's the name out with? Granados.
Rios or Granados?
Rios and Granados. Right.
Well, Rios was a big right hand that kind of sent him into, like, it was like Rios was falling off of a ladder or something like that.
Yep.
And Granados, it was the left hook that kept doing it before he finally got him with the right hand. He had him all over the place most of the fight, which is actually impressive because that guy doesn't. I don't think that guy really gets stopped or has gotten stopped up until then. That was his first time getting stopped.
He looked so much stronger than Granados. I was like, I didn't like that fight. I was like, man, he shouldn't have been in there with that guy. But you know, Granados, he's from Chicago, so I was familiar with him when he fought in the amateurs. I remember seeing him. He came out of Garfield Park here in Chicago. I seen the guy. But I'll tell you, man, this is a great fight. This is the kind of fight that these guys should be having. I don't mind if, you know, like whoever I pick in the fight loses or whatever. I just want to see the fight because we can't determine how good these guys are unless they fight one another.
Right.
I'm going to ask you a question in a minute, Stormy, relating to Sean Porter. The fight, I'm excited for the reasons you said as well, but like I kind of gone over Spence with Danny. You know, his feet kind of fail him. You know, when Keith Thurman used that movement, he couldn't really find the answer. You know, he couldn't really get the punches off. He just couldn't really find him much. But you know, Danny, that left hook comes out of nowhere sometimes. And so like that Granados fight, and Granados isn't at that level of Spence, but it just happens. Like sometimes it's just there. Like sometimes I don't see it. But that freaking right hand as well. I mean, that sent Rios to the Shadow Realm. You know?
Exactly. And that's why I say he remember, sometimes when your greatest knockout punch, right, or whatever, people will say, well, he's got that left hook. Tommy Morrison's got that left hook. Joe Frazier's got that left hook. Well, in this instance, yeah, Danny has a good left hook, but he can punch with both hands. So while you minding the left hook and minding the left hook and minding the left hook, next thing you get hit with that damn right because he can hit with both hands. And the straight right hand is the punch to hit a southpaw with.
Killer.
You see? Do you see? So it's like, does it get home? It can. Earl is not Pernell Whitaker. Huh? He's not. Sean Porter was able to hit him.
And you know, when Sean fought him, I forgot what round it was, they got into a real scrap. They went for a punch each, and Errol's hook hit Sean in the armpit because he got too close. Errol was undisciplined within that moment. He had his hands down and he tried to swing from the hip and he hit Sean in the armpit, so he got stuck there almost, and then Sean returned with the left at the same time, and it just went right across Errol's forehead. It got him real good, and Errol like shut his eyes for a bit, and he took a step back, and he had to bring his hands up. When you make mistakes like that against people who really can specialize in counterpunching, not just with the left, but also with the right, you're playing with fire there because Sean doesn't have that power.
Listen, watch it. I'm glad you're saying those things. That means that you're watching the action. You're not watching the guy for, you know, because a lot of the guys out here in the community, they talk about Earl as if he's flawless. He's not.
No.
And the thing is like none of the fighters are flawless. And the thing is like if you just bring it back home to a place of reality, this is a damn good fight. And this is the type of fight we are supposed to be getting. Remember, the Sean Porter's Earl Spence fight was a good fight, deserving of a rematch. It was just that damn good. And I had said on my Friday night chop session before that fight, the night before, I said, this fight is so good. How about a rematch? I said that. You could go back and look at my show. And when we were talking about it, because everybody was talking about, yeah, Earl gonna smoke Sean and he might be the first one to stop him and this and that. I was like, where are these guys getting this crap from? as if Sean Porter, who has smoked him? Who? Nobody. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is like it's the type of battle that's supposed to be taking place. Yes, he got the victory, but I think that the victory was as close as that knockdown. Had that knockdown had not occurred, they would have been hard pressed to make that a draw or something because that fight was just that close. And in this fight, what's interesting about Danny is, and I was alluding to this a moment ago, Watcher, when you said you had to do something. I don't know if you heard everything when I was talking about Foreman and Mora. If Danny is smart enough, and I was watching him on his fight hype clip where he was in the gym hitting the bag and stuff like that. If he's smart enough to take the power off of some of them shots just so he could touch Earl and make Earl come within range, he can set him up because it's like then you don't have to do the hard work. Like we said, he doesn't have great feet, right? Great footwork. So it's like this is how you trap guys. You don't trap them by chasing after them. You make it seem like, oh, you touch them, pop, pop, pop. Oh, that ain't nothing. And you do it a couple of rounds or whatever. And the guy start getting closer to you because he's like, well, I think I done felt what he had to offer. I'm going to go on in there. And then boom, where the hell that come from? You see?
Yep.
But that's boxing IQ. And I was saying in reference to George, I was like, I don't know that if Danny has that, the ability and knowledge to think like that, to make the guy think that it's safe. And there's something else. Who the hell backs up Danny Garcia?
Yeah. I mean, we've probably only seen Sean do it, and Sean had to pay a few times doing it. Double left hook at times. And then there were times where Danny could back him up and hit him with an overhand right on the ropes. If he can disguise certain shots, kind of get Spence into a little bit of a false sense of security of, okay, like we're good here when you're not really good here. A shot will be there to be hit. And again, people thinking Spence is immune and everything. Sean Porter hit him with several overhand rights, several right hooks, and several straight rights. When Errol was even throwing at the same time, there were times when Sean Porter would just lead with the right hand and just boom, hit him. I believe Danny, if he sets it up right, he can really make Spence pay in those situations because Errol's there. He's there to be hit at times. And you can't make mistakes with Danny, Use your smarts, use your brain. And from his training, he looks good. He looks ready. He sounds confident. And I was speaking with Tyrone before. Tyrone will know this. He got in that ring real quick after that Sean Porter fight. Like, he got in there real quick. He's like, I want you next. Like, he is confident he can win, So that's what makes me even more excited for this, Danny's here to really put it all on the line, I think, anyway.
And don't forget this about Sean. Sean's style makes for him to have to take a little punishment, take some punches. And I don't mean just gonna put your chin out there and let people hit you. I'm just saying that he knows that he's gonna receive contact because he's typically the smaller guy who has to work his way into other guys. So he trains for that. So he's accustomed to the contact, knowing I'm something's coming, But guys who aren't used to getting hit and getting hit cleanly or getting hit by hammering shots or whatever, it's a bit different. Danny is accustomed to being hit because he don't move his head very much. You know what I mean? He's a straight up and down guy. But what he does have, he has good fundamentals where he holds his hands. He don't carry his hands low. He keeps his hands high and in a position to punch out of. His hands are, when I talk about fighters, keeping their hands a certain place, I call it like the 10 o'clock guard. You got where the right hand is by your chin and the left hand is near your shoulder. You see, and that's that 10 o'clock guard. And what happens off of that, you know, anything coming in, it doesn't take but a split second to get the hand all the way up to block your temple, your you know, behind your ear, your chin, things like that. Guys who carry that left real low and everything, it takes time to get that hand up. I don't care how quick you are. But when guys know that that's what you do, they can exploit that if they've been trained and learned how to do it properly. Danny don't have that problem. His problem is he don't have much of that head movement, like, you know, left to right or whatever. He can slip a shot or he can block those shots, but he doesn't have that timing head movement, you know. But it's very interesting. It's a good southpaw against a good plotting, punching fighter with who's two-fisted. That's exciting. It really is.
Oh, 100%. The one of the other factors that that was great talk, by the way. One of the other factors is that car crash. I do think, and for people watching this on the replay, if Danny wins and he wins by knockout, or even if he wins on points and he does get a knockdown, I'm not really gonna be one of those people saying, "Oh, he only lost because of the car crash," because really, you wouldn't be like, you're clear to fight. You're sparring. Derek James has talked about it. Okay, you lose, and that's what it is. But I'm still gonna say that Spence does look a bit different. I don't know if you agree, Tyrone. Would you say he looks a little bit or sounds a little bit, you know, not, I don't know, just a little slower in speech maybe, or his eye, there's something's up, I don't know, his other eye, his left eye or something.
He looks like I mean, he always spoke slowly before.
I know that.
Like, huh?
I know that. Yeah.
He looks like somebody who still hasn't. He's gotten out of bed, but he hasn't woken up yet.
He looks half asleep in the ring sometimes, man.
I saw him train, and I think it's not. It's what I see doesn't look permanent.
Yeah.
He hasn't been jolted yet, almost. So that'll probably happen in the ring, but I think he'll be fine.
Look, man, I reckon this isn't a thing of where, oh, like Spence is, you know, it's a good contest for Spence, but Spence is gonna, you know, win. Like, no, it's competition at the highest level at this weight. I mean,
yeah, it's the top. It's really the it is best fight the best. It's the top. It's an elite fight again. It's another top fight.
Yeah, and Danny's gonna make him realize, you know, he's in there with someone that's really skilled and just has that punch and has that timing and knows what he's doing in there. Because Danny's got more fights as well. You know, he's fought at different weight classes. He knows those different body types. He knows those different punches. So I just hope we get a great fight. We get a good contest out of these two. I saw Angel Garcia on the PBC fight camp. He was talking about like how he used to work for like $5 an hour. And like he started crying, and I'd like never seen that before. And I thought, damn, like, you know, this is really like they find this one really important. You know, the other fights were of course important, but you know, they're coming with everything, all the good energy they have, all the preparation. I'm happy this fight is happening. I'm really happy this fight is happening. We get a bit of a crowd, I believe, Tyrone, a bit of a crowd.
Yeah, I have to check my stats here, but I heard 20,000 is what they're looking at.
Wow.
I'm not sure. I
That's
don't know.
more than Davis and Cruz. They had 9,000?
20. Let me see. Crowd.
Damn, man, you all don't care over there about the fucking COVID, do you?
My brother always says they don't have COVID in the South. Well, Texas is like
Bullshit.
South Central. It's not really South, but
Man, Texas all the way down there, isn't it?
yeah, I'm like,
I wanted to get Stormy's thoughts on Sean Porter's father slash coach, Mr. Kenny Porter. I've watched Kenny Porter. I was trying to get an interview with him as well. But when you're ready, Stormy, what do you make of Kenny Porter as a coach for Sean? How do you rate his method of teaching Sean? The style overall. What do you think of Kenny Porter as a coach?
I think he's done a tremendous job with Sean. I think he's kept Sean from a lot of the wolves in the sport and the leeches, but he's also helped Sean keep his nose clean, no pun intended, but with all of the pitfalls that come about and surround fighters, and him being a father to Sean as well as a coach, it's been done the correct way. They have a tremendous rapport, and from just the interview that Sean did when he was on Blue Blood Sports TV, and he talked about his dad and his dad, coming to him the right kind of way early on when they said that they were going to do this professionally, how he laid groundwork out and said, you're going to have to think about this. You can't work no jobs. You can't, be running around with the girls and this and that. You got to be dedicated, this and that. He did it the right way. Seriously. Yeah. But he also did it with a father's care. You know what I mean? Where and Kenny, to me, I don't know the man personally, but just from the outside appearing in and me being around guys here in Chicago in the gym and stuff like that, Kenny seemed to me to know exactly how to handle Sean in this business. And he's done a tremendous job. To the degree that Sean even says, hey, had you asked me 10 years ago about my dad, I might have had different answers or whatever. He's like, but now I could see what he brought me to and what he's done for me. And that's the highest compliment that his dad will probably ever get from his son publicly, unless his son wants to get all mushy and say some other heartfelt things. But basically, he took a young man who was limited in his abilities and refined his tools and made him better. You see, because Sean, like I was saying a moment ago, doesn't have the biggest punch. He doesn't have size advantage over anyone in the division. But what he does have is incomparable work ethic. He's highly conditioned. He's smart in there. He's very smart. He's savvy. And with the experiences that he's had with his losses as well as his victories, he understands boxing. And even when he does talk about fights, other fights, you can hear that come through. And that's all because of what he has learned, what he has gone through and experienced, and what he hopes to still put on display as his career resumes. Kenny's done a great job. And I know people have made fun of him and has certain things to say, but he's been one of the most successful father-son tandems that there has been in the sport. And even with Shane Mosley, who was fast rising and everything like that, he had to go to another source outside of his dad to get, to another level, so to speak, or whatever. But Kenny has done it the right way. And I think that now it's time, and Sean spoke about this on Blue Blood. Now it's time for him to start working with some other guys. And Sean said that it was like he has put his time in with it, really with me, but he's probably going to start. You're going to see him with other guys because of the success he's had and the teaching and everything. And if people could just acknowledge what has been done successfully with Sean, they can see their way in the success that they could have with Kenny as well.
Yep, that's a great way. That's the most accurate way of putting it, I reckon. I mean, I'm just putting some footage up here. I watched some of Kenny's videos. He's telling Sean off sometimes, which I find amusing. Just just the way he's saying it and everything. But I've watched them train throughout the years, like during Kell Brook. They go into several different gyms as well. Sean is like the epitome of just hard work. From what I see, I mean, he just grinds out the training religiously almost. I mean, his father, Coach Larry Wade, is strength and conditioning. He's got another trainer with him. They really push him, and Kenny says, it is our job to make sure this young man gets the best camp he can, the best preparation he can, and put on the best performance he can to get the win. Kenny's one of those old school cats, he's very he's straight to the point. And he really wants that discipline. I think he's coached Shane Mosley for a little bit as well. He was hitting pads with him a few times.
Do you see this clip you have here with him working with Sean and how he's teaching him how to step around after he's thrown his right hand? It's the same thing that Kevin Rooney and Custy Amato used to do with Mike Tyson, the young Mike Tyson. See, because after you throw that right hand, you get off line, you get off center line, and you find yourself around on the opponent. So when the opponent has to adjust, while he's adjusting, you can follow up with more shots. That's what he's telling him. He's giving him the geography lesson right there. That's what I call that. It's like when you coming in, you always come in covered. Okay. And so when you throw your shots, the last shot that you throw, you have to be out of the position of a counter. And for the right hand that you throw, usually the counter is a counter right hand or a left hook. And when he comes out of that right hand, he's on Kenny's right side, ready to throw a left hook right hand again, you see, or a right hand left hook again from being on that side. That's teaching there. He's showing him exactly what to do. But if you notice, he's having him do minimum movement, but he's doing maximum conversation with him because he's telling him what you need to do and why you need to do it. See, there are guys, when you can see these trainers and they're telling guys, you got to throw the 1-2, you got to throw that jab, you got to hit that right hand. But this is where it happens in the gym when you are teaching a guy and you're giving him the information as why you're doing these things. See how he ends up on Kenny's right side after throwing the right hand?
Yeah.
That's teaching, bro.
Yeah.
It's not about working the pads. See, what did I say about the follow-up punches? Once the guy is out, when the guy, you throw that right hand now, boom, look at that. He's over there, boom. Left hook or right hand? Isn't that what I just said? Or right hand, left hook?
Yep, that's what you said. Boom. Kenny's really good at explaining it as well. I won't put the volume up, but do check this video out. Just put in Kenny Porter training Sean Porter, the boxing voice, because they've put some good content out. At the start, he was telling him, like, when you come in, I think, like, come in a certain way so, like, you don't get hit on the way in, because
that's why I said you stay covered. You covered. I'm telling you, if I had a sit down, I don't know this man. If I had a sit down, he and I would probably get along very well, because this is what I was doing with guys in the gym. This is exactly what I do. I have videotape of myself. Maybe I'll find a way to transfer it because it's on my. I got an old camcorder, but if I can find a way to transfer some of my footage from my gym work, working with the guys, I'm doing the same thing what Kenny is doing here.
Yep.
The activity is one thing, but you have to explain why you're doing what you're doing. So you drive the point home. I had a guy, his name is Paul Tovar, and he was one of my guys that I was training in the amateurs. And he came to me one day, he was saying, man, he's like, I feel like when I'm in there and I'm inside with a guy, I don't know what to do. He was like, so I find myself grabbing and holding or something like that, or I try to dart out of there and create distance or whatever. And I said, well, we can work on some drills of being on the inside. And I was telling him, I was like, what you have to understand is that's the safest place, really, when you're in close with a guy. Because most guys don't want you in close. They want you away from them. It's like, it's a hot plate or something. They want to push it back. But when you're inside, you can see everything. All you need to know is what to do. It's like guys who want to talk to a girl. Okay, man, she fine. Well, go talk to her. Now you got her attention. What do you say to her? You see what I'm saying? It's like the guy, hey, what's your name? It's like you don't know what to say. Until you get experience under your belt, and then you can laugh and break the ice with jokes and stuff like that. But it's the same principle. And that's one of the things that I say on the Tuesday Tussle, right? I talk about this because in boxing, there are principles that you can apply to your everyday life, because boxing, fighting is life. It's like you fight every day. People don't realize every time you inhale and exhale, you're fighting for a breath to live. So it's down to that simplistic denominator. I told you, I bet that Kenny and I could sit down and have a great boxing conversation, because I could see what he's doing with his son right there within that little bit of footage. And you have to understand that he's been working with his son for years. So there's a lot that he's taught him. And for the success that Sean has had, how can that be denied?
Oh, I have no doubt you two will get along. I mean, Kenny is just, he's great. He's done a beautiful job with Sean. I'm going to play a little bit of audio with this because they're learning. Let's cut the ring off a bit. You're going to see him. He's going to tell Sean off here, but it's for good reason as well, because he's very good at explaining. Before I play it, Kenny also said to Sean, don't pull out. He said this during one of the PBC fight camps. He said, don't pull out straight back and just stand there. He said, if we're going to go forward or backwards, we're going to take the angles, he said. That's always better, he said, than just being there, standing, and just allowing yourself to be that target, he said. He said, always take the angle. And he always says, get around the man. It's not about the pad work. It's about that movement and that positioning and where you are next. What's your next move? So I'm gonna play this for a good minute. All right. We all see this? It's gonna load up in a sec.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I see it.
Put the volume up.
You know what he's teaching him right now?
Yep.
Cut the ring off.
Yep. Cut the ring off.
He's teaching him cut the ring off. And particularly the thing about cutting the ring off is when you catch, I call it, you know, a square boxing ring is made of 4 triangles. Each corner represents the tip of the triangle. Okay. Now the thing is that within the triangle, there's the shortest point and the greatest distance point. And the greatest distance point is from the center of the ring back to the ring corner that the fighter may come out of for each round, right? Let's just put it like that. So it's like this. When you pursue the opponent, if you cut the ring off, you limit his options as far as offense and defense. Now, how does that work? It's because depending on who the fighter is, who the opponent is, they may need space to get their shots off. They may need space to move their feet. They may need space and time simply to think. And sometimes it's a combination of all of these. But when you are a guy who understands controlling the real estate, and I talk about that all the time, when you understand how to do that, when you cut down a guy's time to move, time to think, time to act, you've got the upper hand.
Yeah.
This is why when you do something, if you have a total toolbox, a foundation of fundamentals, what will happen is you don't have to think. You could just react. You see? That's like when Mike Tyson was very good. Most of what he did successfully came off of reacting to a guy because he worked his way in, whether it's behind his jab or you threw a jab at him, he slips, he's inside. And now what does he do inside? He opens up with a series of combinations. People just remember Tyson hitting the guy with a big shot and he going down. No, that's not what was happening. Early in his career, he was putting punches together in succession. And what happened was, as he ran those numbers, another term I like to use, running the numbers, guys couldn't defend everything that was coming back. So the natural response would be to cover up and get the hell out of the way, right? Well, they're no longer fighting back, right? So you've taken that away from them. Now they're thinking about their safety, and the faster that you move in on them, the faster they're thinking about getting the hell out of there. And now they can't even think about protecting themselves or whatever, because everything is been made in disarray. So it's like, that's how he was successful and able to get on top of people like that. Now, when he found out that he could rely on punching power, he would begin to just load up with shots. But when he was young and he was doing those things, running those shots with combinations and everything, it was the pressure that he was putting on people who were not adept at dealing with pressure. And that's what Kenny is teaching Sean right there. When he told him, no, after he got him out of that one corner and they were along the long side of the ring, Sean was supposed to go back out and move with his right foot to steer himself over at Kenny to keep him in that next corner. That he moved from one corner going backwards to his right to the next corner. Sean was supposed to move over to the outside, and that's what he was telling him. And Sean was like, no, you were telling me, so I'm working down here. He's like, no, you have to, you cut the ring off on the guy by coming on the outside like that. You're creating pressure. You're closing in. It's like, you ever seen those movies where they fall into a trap and the walls be closing in on them or whatever? It's like even in Star Wars when they fell into the trash compactor room and the walls were closing on them and they looked to put that steel beam up there to hold the walls. Well, it's similar because you're cutting a guy's options down to little or nothing. Now he can't do nothing but stand and fight. But if he has to stand and fight, it's now up to you to dictate that fight and what you want to do to him in that moment. A lot of guys don't want to be dictated to. They want to do the dictating. So he who creates and controls the real estate and creates that pressure has the advantage. This is why it's a sweet science. You know, these guys talk about physical, a guy with a big punch and he can knock somebody out. Whatever, man. If you can punch, that's fine. But what about a guy who can take the damn punch? What do you do now? You see? So
Yep.
it's just so much to it. This is why it's called a sweet science.
100%. Yep. Seeing those videos of Mike. See, that's what like Sean kind of reminds me of sometimes with his movement like that of young Mike Tyson sometimes. Just that movement. But Sean without the power almost. Just, you know, little layers of that just there. Like just small, I forgot the word for it, but just small similarities there I see in that. But yeah, I've loved this stream, man. It's been good. I'm gonna wrap it up in a few minutes, but I believe I don't know what time it is in the UK now, but Loz D Punch Out TV will also be live. He'll be talking about Dubois versus Joyce, and I think we'll all get to say our piece on there. So Friday, he said he'll be doing that. He's put a little prediction up about that, as we discussed before.
He
But
put a
yeah,
video up today. Did you see it?
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah,
Did
I
you?
watched
Yeah.
it too.
Yeah, I saw you watched it. What did you think?
Oh, I thought it was a good video. Laws and I, we kind of have the same feeling about the outcome of this fight, and for pretty much similar reasons. But I think it's the kind of fight, again, when these type of fights take place, they're for the fans. It's a crowd pleasing fight. I don't think there's any way that this fight can be boring unless the two guys go in there and just hug each other. But
Yeah.
for their styles and their personal makeups, I don't see them hugging each other. I see them, letting rip. And whoever can sustain or endure the greater of the other, that's the person that's going to win. I just happen to have a feeling it's going to be Joyce, but it wouldn't surprise me if Dubois won, but it would surprise most if Joyce won. And I think he is definitely he's a live shark in this fight, man. Definitely.
Oh, yep, he is. I mean, they will go for it. They're gonna let it rip. They're gonna let it go. They both like to come forward as well. None of them really back up much. We broke it. I'm gonna elaborate more on it on Loz's stream, but yeah, it's a really good fight, and the winner has a lot of opportunities out there. It's really gonna open doors. I've heard Joyce talking about Joshua or something, which maybe focus on Dubois for now. I got the sparring footage of that actually. It's on my channel somewhere. Joyce is just backing him up in that session, not throwing a whole lot, but Joyce is just walking forward like freaking the juggernaut that he is. But yeah, I'll look forward to Loz going live on that. I think we're gonna wrap it up now, but I just want to thank Tyrone and Stormy for coming on the channel. Stormy, you bring so much good knowledge to this, and we all take what you say, we all take it in, and we process it, and we really appreciate what you do on the platform here. Tyrone as well, thank you once again. Always my key panel member here as well, and always giving the predictions and doing my micromanagement for me. You didn't have to do too much today because we didn't have really any trolls in the freaking chat, unlike the other past couple of them, which was just crazy. And yeah, salute to the chat that came through as well. Appreciate it as well.
Well, I appreciate you having me on, man. And me, I'm very consistent with how I represent. And as I said, I like to support you know, you guys as well, man. Tyrone, I know when I've seen Tyrone come on, and I see him out there, I try to jump in his chat or whatever, and when he invites me on, I come on with no problem, because I'll tell you something. For me, I do some of my best work when I come on you guys' panels. When I come and I can share and talk boxing with you, because on my own channel I'm focusing on so many different things, but there's no ego here. It's just confidence and capability, which is kind of like what I was telling the guy last night when I was telling Black Star. I was saying, hey man, you're sounding like one of the guys in my gym. You know, when I tried to tell him something and he was being hard-headed or whatever, it was like, but that's okay, because I understand when you are watching as a fan and stuff like that, you can get, you know, emotional and stuff, but I love to talk the sport. I can always test what I say against any of the veterans out there, the former fighters, the trainers. If you notice, if you see me on any other panels where we had professional fighters on there or trainers and I've interacted, they always take to me, because they know that, oh, okay, this guy knows. He knows what he's saying. But to a lot of the fan guys out here in the community and stuff, it just sounds like I'm, you know, but no, that's not it. I could actually, if I wanted to re-up my license, I could go out there and work professionally in somebody's corner. But that's not what I chose to do. I could have been moved to Vegas over 15 years ago, well, almost 20 years ago, and been living out there working. I could have been near the Mayweather camp. I could have been out of Thel Torrance and Eddie Futch's camp that was there in Vegas. I chose not to do that. I chose not to do that. But yeah, I know people. I know a lot of people, and I don't do a lot of name dropping. I could get people on my channel for interviews and things like that, but that's not where I'm coming from. I just want to do quality content, talk the sport of boxing because it's a passion for me, but I don't want to put myself in a position where I don't like this anymore and I'm going to leave it alone. See, that's what I've managed to avoid, you know. So, but thanks again for having me, man. I really appreciate it. And you guys are always welcome, you know, on my channel. So just know that.
Of course, hey, look, for people that I've seen in the chat, Drew Titan as well. He popped in quickly, not on the panel, but in the chat. He was at work, you know, showing support here as well. You guys are welcome, man. You guys are welcome on the channel anytime. I told Tyrone, you know, I messaged him on the WhatsApp as well, which I've used for about how many weeks? You reckon, Tyrone? 3 weeks?
About 3 weeks, maybe a month.
Yeah, and we're with Slick Rick, who you know who that is, and Laws, and who's the other? I'll ask you who the other guy in the chat is because I've not seen him around. But we're all connecting. We're all, you know, we're all supporting the sport essentially by talking about it. You know, talking about certain fights, certain fighters, and you will get the here and there people you know, that will be a bit too passionate about it, you know, with certain favorite fighters. But at the end of the day, man, I'm just going to continue to look forward to the fights and the live streams that people do, and it's good. I'm glad to be a part of it, you know.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, but where I am right now, it is Thursday. I don't know what it's Wednesday, Tyrone.
It's 10:51 over here. I think Storm, you're Central, so 9:51.
Yeah.
So Saturday, for me, Loz will be live. Friday for you guys, I think, because you're a bit, you guys got different. Yeah, so I'm not gonna be live for the rest of the week, but I will for sure be on Loz D Punch Out's channel and maybe on someone else's as well. But yeah, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you, everyone. Salute to the chat, salute to the panel, and we will see you on the next live stream. I'll see you around, guys. All right.
Yeah.
All right, man. Peace to you, man, and have a great holiday, you two brothers. Okay.
Yep. All right, everybody.
Peace out.
All right. Peace.
Excellent.